In this video, we'll discuss how puffy bags under your eyes relate to liver disharmony and strategies you can implement to address this. Enjoy. Welcome back, everyone. In today's face reading tutorial, we're going to discuss liver energetics and essentially when your liver needs attention, how to see that on the face. What can we see in terms of features or the countenance of the face that indicates you need liver support, and moreover, the steps you can actually take to remediate that. So the basic idea with all of this stuff is that face reading is a health system. It's about life nourishment. That's the whole game with face reading, is that if we can look at the face and identify health markers, and when we see imbalances in the body, if you can mitigate that and strengthen the body, the mind and the spirit become stronger, and that's really what is necessary for longevity. We have to have a unification of mind, body, and spirit where they're harmonizing and synergizing together to live a long time and to live a healthy life and to express our gifts fully into the world. So, first and foremost, let's talk about seeing liver disharmony on the face. Two primary things I want you to focus on, and there are other things, lesser things I would say, that can get in there, but I don't want to confuse people. I want to keep it very simple and keep it very direct for this video. And if you have questions, you can always put them down in the comment section. First one is pillowy bags under the eyes. So this is not dark under the eyes. That's not what I'm referring to, but it almost looks like fluid-filled pouches where we'll start to see any kind of accumulation where we get really puffy under the eyes, sort of right at the bottom of the ocular bone. If that area is pillowy and we're seeing a lot of inflammation there or bags right there that are forming, the more pronounced those are, the more overt the disharmony is. But you want to pay attention to this. If we're seeing that, this is definitely a sign that the liver system is backed up. I'm not going to go into all the causes of why the liver gets backed up. It can be emotional, it can be physical, alcohol or excessive alcohol can contribute to it. There are a lot of factors, but again, if you're seeing this, that's sign number one. You've got to address liver energetics and start working on that, because the liver is responsible for the free flow of emotion in the body. It's very important. When our emotions get stagnant and they get backed up, it becomes like a pressure cooker and we can pop. Now, the countenance of the face. The second one is seeing it through the shen a bit, how the person's face generally looks, the vibe that's coming off of the face. What you're going to see with someone who has a backed up liver typically is a lot of face tension. The face looks excessively gruff. They look excessively stern. They'll have a furrowed brow consistently all the time. They might even have the 11s, right? The two vertical lines that can show up here. These aren't always explicitly pathological, but if a person is furrowing their brow a lot and they're doing this and they're holding that position, this is a sign that the liver system is usually backed up. So the general look is a look of anger and frustration. If we're seeing that in conjunction, especially with those pillowy bags, this is like a call to action to work on the liver. So the thing I want you to think about here when we're talking about the liver is that the liver, again, is responsible for the free flow of emotion in the body. It's also responsible for a lot of how our emotions circulate and how the chi, the bioelectricity in our body, responds to that. If we get backed up emotionally, we are not in a good place. This is not somewhere you want to be. We want emotions to be circulating freely all the time. One of the best ways you can do it from the physical standpoint, is to walk. Steady state cardio and getting outside where you're spending ideally 30 minutes to an hour at least per day, where you walk and you move. And that gentle movement of blood, just the blood circulating through the body, is part of what helps the liver stay in good working order. People that have backed up livers need to move their blood, and steady state cardio is one of the best ways. Now, for fat loss and all of these other things, steady state cardio is not what I advise. So I'm not talking about weight loss here. I want you to think of this as sort of a beeline tunnel vision about just addressing and massaging the liver. When blood moves through our body and it starts to go through the liver, this is very good for the liver system. Now, the next one is strength training. Now, this is kind of a shotgun approach. I think everybody should be strength training. Everyone needs to be moving and lifting heavy things throughout a given week if you want to live a long time. But specifically, the liver system regulates the ligaments and the tendons in the body. So the more we engage those and use those through plyometrics or sprinting or strength training, things that have robust explosive action, This is what decompresses the liver. And this is one of the ways you can start addressing that and really getting things to get into a better place. Good working order is what you're going for. Now, from a dietary perspective, there is a tea specifically. And again, this is not medical advice. This is all educational content. So I encourage everyone to do their own research, look these things up. But one of the things that's used in Chinese medicine for a backed up liver is something called jiaogulan tea. The Latin is Gynostemma pentaphyllum. It's a really powerful herb. It's the only green tea in existence that doesn't have caffeine. It's incredibly good at lowering blood cholesterol. It's called the tea of immortality. So it's a longevity beverage. It's not bitter. It's naturally sweet. Doesn't have added sugar or anything like that, but the leaves are sweet. If you do go the jiaogulan route and you decide to get that, steep or brew your tea at 180 degrees, not 212. If you do that, the tea gets bitter. Quality jiaogulan should be sweet in its profile. Now, if you'd like to add honey or whatever else to it, you can, but that's something I strongly encourage people to get on, men and women alike. And moreover, it's an adaptogenic herb. Adaptogenic herbs are herbs, especially in the context of Chinese medicine, that deal with regulating excesses and deficiency. So, for example, jiaogulan is used for people with high blood pressure. People who have high blood pressure, it will bring their blood pressure down. However, if another person who has low blood pressure takes it, it brings their blood pressure up. So it adapts to and modulates the stress response in you specifically. So this is why I suggest it for a lot of people. Again, not medical advice. Just go look it up, do some research, read about jiaogulan tea. It's a sleeper herb here in the West. Many people don't know about it. And a lot of my clients that come to me for health-related things, I suggest this to them, especially if they have liver problems. The other thing to do from a dietary perspective is to actually lower your fat. Fat is very important for the body. Going on a zero-fat diet for years on end is, a recipe for disaster in terms of your hormones and everything. But the liver and the gallbladder system are married in Chinese medicine. Liver and gallbladder. Gallbladder is what releases the bile, which helps us digest fat. High-fat diets, things like keto or carnivore, or things where we're just relying on a lot of fat, you've got to have a very healthy and robust liver to do that. And this is why they do work, but there's some people who have backed up livers and they do these kinds of diets and things get worse. So stick to quality fats, things like coconut oil, olive oil, grass-fed tallow, pastured fat from healthy animals. Those are all great. Stick to that. Keep those fats in your diet, but definitely bring them down. You want to think just enough fat to have food taste good, but you don't want your food swimming in a lot of fat. Again, this is going to stress the liver and gallbladder system, and until your liver gets in good working order, I would keep your fat content a bit lower. Now, from an emotional and psychological perspective, we're looking at compassion and kindness. So the anger and the frustration and irritability and hostility, that's all regulated by the liver system, the wood element. So every element has a positive and negative. That is the negative side of what it digests, but the positive side is kindness and compassion, sort of a humanitarian type vibe. The more you can lean into those things, compassion and kindness, and one of the best ways that they talk about in lifestyle with Chinese medicine is random acts of kindness that are not recognized, which means you do something very nice for somebody and you don't tell anybody about it. It's even better if the person doesn't know that you've done it for them, but if you do something nice for someone and they find out, keep it between you two. The less external exposure, the better. And the reason for that, it's kind of metaphysical from the Eastern perspective, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The ethereal soul, okay, they talk about the soul of a human being comes into the body and it's refracted like a prism, okay, through our organs and through our expression. But the ethereal soul, the part of our soul that dreams at night, that goes to dream time, the part that the astral projection spectrum of things, that's all regulated by the liver. And the less conscious eyes on that system, especially when you're trying to regulate that system, the better. So again, I know that's kind of metaphysical and esoteric, but you want to think, if you're going to do kind, compassionate acts, the karmic mechanism that makes it work is you keep quiet about it. No external recognition. So it's truly just a nectar between you and that person, and maybe just you if that person didn't find out it was you, but they're going to get benefit from those random acts of kindness. So the more you do that, the more you can explore that, have compassion for people, The other way that I challenge people to do this is in the political sphere. Right now, politically, people hate each other because they're on one side of the aisle or the other. And what I tell people is one of the best exercises you can do in terms of orientation to the mind, body, and spirit is to have compassion for people that see things differently than you. And the easy, low-hanging fruit to access that is politics. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. People are very charged. I've never been a politically charged person. I have friends on every side of the aisle, down the middle, left, right, and I'm fine with it. I grew up in a time where people did have disagreements, and that's okay. They were still able to have dinner and find their common ground. But in terms of regulating the liver, this is one of those access points that I think is very good. Find ways to be compassionate and to be kind to people. The more you do that, the more the liver system calms down. The last one is going to be creative outlets. So the liver system, when it gets bogged down, it shows up on the face in the ways I mentioned. But the liver channel, the acupuncture meridian, it goes down the body and wraps around the sex organs in both men and women, which is why the liver system has close ties to sex drive and sexuality and libido and these kinds of things. But the other side of that, okay, you can decompress the liver system through sexual activity for sure. But one of the ways that people don't notice and they don't do is through creative outlets. And the thinking behind that, the reasoning is creative energy and sexual energy are very closely related because sex creates human beings. It's the ultimate creative act. So again, in terms of decompressing the liver, creative expression is really key. It's very important. And the reason I mention that one is because we have more chances typically to be creative in the external world than we do to be sexually. Now, if we have a partner, that's different, right? And everything is going well between you and your partner, you have that access point. But if you're feeling it in the middle of the day and you're feeling really angry or the frustration and the emotional themes of the liver system are cropping up, the easier access point is typically creative things rather than sexual things. So it's not to say that the sexual lever doesn't work. It definitely does. But I really try to put that creative capacity on people's radar. I don't care what that is. Stacking dishes a certain way, making things look aesthetically pleasing, doing a little bit of writing, doing a little bit of painting or drawing or things that you like to do. Finding things that are creative, reorganizing your house falls into creative outlets, but find a way to be creative. And if you do this, you're on your way to decompressing the liver system. And again, this isn't everything. These videos are short, but I want to give you at least a framework to how to address these things, because if you're seeing disharmonies on the face, there are lifestyle parameters that you're going to want to engage to remediate and support that system. All right, y'all. Take care.